State of Business on Art Television. I'm Hishain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. NMRA says ready for an open debate with the Venerable Anandasagar Thera over the allegations against the NMRA chairman. Hutchison Telecommunications announced its successful completion of its merger with Etisalat and completion of island-wide coverage. News in detail. National Medicines Regulatory Authority today announces that they are ready to discuss the allegations brought against Professor Asta de Silva by a civil society organization identified as People's Movement Against Medicinal Mafia on a platform with the so-called organization members. NMRA Chairman Professor Asta de Silva, who also briefed the media along with its members of the Director Board, said he denied all the allegations leveled against him. Addressing a recent media briefing, convener People's Movement Against Medicinal Mafia, Venerable Pahiyangala Anandasagar Thero said they received substantial amount of evidence against Professor Asta de Silva, who functions as the incumbent chairman of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority. Venerable Anandasagar Thero said Professor de Silva was already a shareholder and a member of the director board of a private pharmaceutical company called Remedium One. Venerable Thero questioned how this incident could not be a conflict of interest when the chairman of NMRA is part of a private medicinal-related products importing and facilitating company. National Medicines Regulatory Authority conducting a media briefing at the NMRA premises said that the Venerable Thero was misled by some people. What he told the media was completely wrong. Director of IDH Hospital and consultant physician Dr. Ananda Vijayavikrama briefing the media said they see an invisible hand behind these allegations and all the appointments to the NMRA was done within the legal provisions. He also said that the so-called civil organization has also suddenly set up with the intention of misleading the public. NMRA Chairman Senior Professor Asta de Silva said he denied all the allegations and doing only a non-executive job at the NMRA, and he is not allowed to make decisions according to his whims and fancies, as all the decisions are made by a board.
I deny very respectfully. I have absolutely no right or opportunity to issue a single license involving importation or registration of medicines. I have absolutely no right. The entire responsibility is with the Chief Executive Officer. And Chief Executive Officer has to get direction from statutory committees for individual areas of regulation that we are involved in. Medicines, medical devices, cosmetics, as well as what we call borderline products. What I am expected to do is chair the board and give vision and direction to the institution. Digitalization, financial independence, empowerment of our staff, training, human resource, those are under our purview. I cannot therefore import or register a medicine just because I feel like doing it. This institution is managed by a board. A single person can never take a responsible decision which is valid in law. That's my job.
Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena officially informed the United Nations Human Rights Council of Sri Lankan government's decision to withdraw from its co-sponsorship of resolutions 30/1 and 40/ addressing the 43rd session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva yesterday.
With the election of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, with an overwhelming majority, the people of Sri Lanka have given a clear signal for their wish for a different path forward for the country. As President Rajapaksa stated in his address at the 72nd commemoration of the Independence Day of Sri Lanka, we will always defend the right of every citizen to participate in political and governance processes through his or her elected representatives, unquote. According to the wishes of the people of Sri Lanka, while following a non-aligned, neutral foreign policy, our government is committed to examining issues afresh, to forge ahead with its agenda, prosperity through security and development, and to find homegrown solutions to overcome contemporary challenges in the best interests of all Sri Lankans. It is in this context that I wish to place on record Sri Lanka's decision to withdraw from the co-sponsorship of the Resolution 40/1 on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in Sri Lanka, which also incorporates and builds on preceding resolutions 30/1 of October 2015 and 34/1 of March 2017.
However, speaking further at the 43rd session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena stressed that Sri Lanka remains committed to realizing the goals set by the people of Sri Lanka on accountability and human rights towards sustainable peace and reconciliation. Minister reiterated that the government will achieve sustainable peace through an inclusive, domestically designed and executed reconciliation and accountability process.
Notwithstanding withdrawing from the co-sponsorship of this resolution, Sri Lanka remains committed to achieving the goals set by the people of Sri Lanka on accountability, human rights, towards sustainable peace and reconciliation. To this end, firstly, the government of Sri Lanka declares its commitment to achieve sustainable peace through an inclusive, domestically designed, executed reconciliation and accountability process, including through appropriate adoption of existing mechanisms in line with the government's policy framework. This would comprise the appointment of a commission of inquiry, which headed by a justice of the Supreme Court, to review the reports of the previous Sri Lanka commissions of inquiry, which investigated the alleged violations of human rights and international humanitarian law, to assess the status of implementation of their recommendations, and to propose deliverable measures to implement them, keeping in line with the new government's policy. Secondly, the government will also address other outstanding concerns and introduce institutional reforms where necessary in a manner consistent with Sri Lanka's commitments, including 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda.
Commercial Bank Chairman Dharma Singh says that the stock exchange plays a far more vital role in allowing businesses access to capital and providing the opportunity for companies to enhance their visibility and public image. Commercial Bank Chairman made these remarks yesterday, ringing the bell to commence trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange in celebrating its 100th anniversary. The event was a part of a series of initiatives conducted by the Commercial Bank of Ceylon to celebrate its centenary anniversary. Commercial Bank of Ceylon is Sri Lanka's largest private lender by assets, and the Commercial Bank Group ended 2019 with a performance milestone of gross income surpassing 150 billion rupees for the first time. Commenting on the success of the Commercial Bank of Ceylon, Colombo Stock Exchange Chief Executive Officer Rajiva Bandaranaike noted that Commercial Bank has continued to support the exchange on initiatives to promote and present the Sri Lankan capital market amongst local and foreign investors. Addressing the audience at an event, Chairman of Commercial Bank Dharma Dirasinghe explained how the trading at CSE has become beneficial for the bank.
The stock market is much more than a place for brokers to buy and sell shares of companies, which I believe is the common belief among the public as well, and even within some of the members of the business community. But as the learned audience is aware, a stock exchange plays far more pivotal role in allowing businesses access to capital and providing the opportunity for companies to enhance their visibility and public image. The country can become visible to the world depending on many indicators, and the performance of its stock exchange is one such economic indicator.
Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Stating that the Ministry of Power and Energy has purchased 100 megawatts of emergency power to curtail the shortage of the electricity supply, State Minister of Power Mahindananda Alutgamage assures that no power cut will be occurred in the country. He made this assurance and informed media personnel over the current status of the power supply in the country at a media briefing held at the ministry premises yesterday. Addressing the media representative, State Minister highlighted that 100 megawatts of emergency power has been purchased, extending a 6-month contract awarded by the former government for the purchases to a year. He also mentioned that the former government went for large-scale and imprudent projects led by foreign firms benefiting from high commission.
පහුගිය වසර 5ක කාලය තුල ලංකා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ හිටපු කිසිම අමාත්‍යවරයෙක්
No minister during the last government's regime made an attempt to add a unit to the Ceylon Electricity Board. During our tenure, we were about to give the Kerawalpitiya power plant after proper tendering process, but with the regime shift, former Minister Ravi Karunayaka gave it to a wrong firm. Due to these faults of the previous government, we had to purchase emergency power, but we ensure that no power cut will occur in the future. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, through an extraordinary gazette notification, permitted me to take hold of these projects and power plants. Thus, from March, we will restart the functioning of all the power plants which were standstill during the last 5 years. Also, we will cancel all the imprudent and exorbitant agreements linked during the last 5 years.
Unveiling a pivotal achievement post its strategic acquisition of Etisalat Lanka Limited in 2018, Hutchison Telecommunications Lanka Limited announced the successful completion of the merger between the two networks and smooth migration of the customers from multiple systems to a unified system. Senior officials from the local subsidiary of global telecommunications giant CK Hutchison Holdings announced that the massive network merger would now provide customers access to a bigger and better network of 2G, 3G and 4G services across the country. The company also unveiled its fresh outlook and brand value proposition, Be Anywhere, celebrating the completion of its 4G network coverage in Sri Lanka. This network development offers the population as much as 95% coverage across all 25 districts while serving millions of people across 12,000 plus Grama Niladhari divisions. A total of more than 400 engineers and technical support staff from Sri Lanka and experts from several other countries were deployed to execute the project in a record time of 12 months. By extending a 4G coverage across Sri Lanka, Hutch has taken giant stride in its mission to provide digital inclusivity to customers from every walk of life and to bring affordable broadband services across the entire country. Speaking at the event of Hutch announcing the completion of its island-wide network coverage, expansion and 4G rollout, Hutch Chief Executive Officer Thirukumar Nadarasa explained how the recent fiscal stimulus or the tax concessions have impacted the telecommunications industry.
The government has been very sensitive. I think they're very sensitive about the customers' tax burdens that they're going to bear. And I think they've given these concessions on telecom industry, and I think very well welcomed by the consumers. These tax benefits have been passed on to the customers, so that now they can afford more mobile services, they can buy more services and use mobile services more often. So I think it's well appreciated. And for us, this means increased traffic. People can afford our service more, so that will also result in higher usage of our network.
A portfolio developed by the United Nations World Bank and United Nations Children's Fund stresses that while Sri Lanka has made great strides in healthcare, maternal and newborn, the issues of child malnutrition remains a major problem facing the country, with many children experiencing acute malnutrition, otherwise known as wasting, and chronic malnutrition, otherwise known as stunting. Recognizing that nutrition is the cornerstone of a child's development into a healthy and productive adult, a portfolio developed by the UN, World Bank and UNICEF was handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday at an event held at the Presidential Secretariat in the presence of Secretary to the President Dr. P.V. Jayasundara. The portfolio stresses that according to the Demographic Health Survey in 2016, the prevalence of stunting, wasting and underweight among children under 5 years of age remains static at 17.3%, 15.1% and 20.5% respectively. The prevalence of wasting in the country places Sri Lanka among the 10 worst low and middle income countries in the world, with worse rates than Nepal, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. It was also highlighted that Sri Lanka has many policies, programs and interventions in place, but these have proven inadequate to tackle the magnitude of the malnutrition issue. Thereby, key actions outlined in the portfolio include strengthening coordination while increasing the coverage and improving the quality of nutrition-relevant interventions across the country, having a multi-sectoral coordination mechanism under the Presidential Secretariat that will convene the technical and financial resources of all crucial sectors including finance and planning, health, education, women, child affairs and social security, agriculture and water, given the complexity of the nutrition challenge and inequities prevalent across diverse geographic regions, and increasing national budget investments in financing for nutrition interventions. Stay tuned for the stock updates. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 24.25 points to close at 5,667.87, and the S&P SL20 gained 4.44 points to close at 2,675.41. The turnover was 486 million rupees and over 15 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's the end of today's news. Send us your views and comments via email address and our hotline, and log into our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to be alert on the latest updates. Join us tomorrow with State of Business. Until then, take care. Good night.